Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this narration of the web series, The Nature of Predators. If you're new to the series, there is a playlist listed down below in the description. And as always, I hope that you enjoy. Chapter 66. Memory transcription subject, Captain Sovereign, Federation Fleet Command. Date, Standardized Human Time, October 24, 2136. The human soldiers detached in their shuttle, well before we entered Colchian territory. No doubt, the Predators wanted to avoid being picked up by censored readings. If patrol ships asked us to account for all detected lifeforms, it would be impossible to hide their presence. Our concerns were validated by the harsh reception we received on descent towards Alpha. Gunships sidled up to us at full speed and relayed demands to power down our engines. "Venlo vessel, you are not welcome on Federation grounds." The Colchian's chief Nikonus was broadcasting a hail on military frequencies, with a glare that rivaled human ferocity. "I let your beasts speak once, and that was an error on my part. The Gojid Cradle, the Kurtal army, and dozens of worlds have perished because of that little misstep." I accepted transmission, striking my serious pose. "This is Captain Soblin of the Gojid detachment of the Federation fleet. I'm here to request asylum for our refugees." "Do the humans think we're idiots? There's 6 other signatures on board, and you are a known Predator prisoner." Nikonus bobbed his indigo tentacles in irritation. "By law, Venlo visitors should be held as enemies of state for raised arms against other prey races." I waved for the Harkon reporters to step into the field of view, while Tulpin and Burner filtered in on the other side. The deaf Gojid wielded a device that could approximate subtitles, and was growing livid from the dialogue. He began punching away at his speech synthesizer, but I flicked my claws in warning. The Colchian Commonwealth realized our Terran-sympathizing alignment. There might not be an opportunity to land at Alpha. It was an uphill battle to convince them that we were friendlies already. You think this roll call would assuage their doubts, but they seem to be expecting Predator trickery. News of the assault on Earth has reached the wider galaxy. They know the Vendel fought by humanity. The tension was palpable, as my scans confirmed the Colchians kept their weapons powered up. I had no idea if they'd deny us passage or attack us outright, since nobody had shown any concern for the suffering Gojids. The Federation had abandoned my people thus far. There had been no aid shipments or reinforcements at our borders. Not one friend would go toe-to-toe with either Predator for us. Anger bubbled inside my chest, but I pushed it down. "Search us all you want. I rescued these Harkon personnel from Oxor attack. We have useful intelligence. You're adding to the trauma too, if you care." "But are they hiding on your ship then? Bombs, bioweapons?" the Colchian demanded. I struggled to keep my voice steady. "The Vendel were able to secure my release and move some Gojid refugees to their territories. I'll be happy to discuss the details before the Federation representatives. Whoever is here, gracious Chief Nikonus." "Let the Harkon speak. I recognize a renowned journalist when I see one, Selene." "I want to know about the Federation's response to the multilateral attack, and your plans to deal with these human predators," the journalist said, without hesitation. "Foul is badly holding, and there's a refugee crisis brewing on your borders. The people want answers. My people want answers." "That doesn't give you the right to barge in here without a clearance. You're disrupting important proceedings." "This is important too, Chief Nikonus." The Colchian breathed a heavy sigh, rushing a tentacle across his forehead. These ship frequencies were often monitored by various media outlets, and I'd hoped that it'd still generate bad publicity if they turned non-Vendel away. Selene and I felt that Nikonus owed us the truth, even if we entered this territory on false pretenses. A trace of my former bravado flared in my chest. The old Captain Sovereign wouldn't have been turned away from a mission objective by anyone. I plotted in a landing course for the Governance Center and ignored the target lot icons on screen. We would be through Alpha's silky atmosphere long before Nikonus gave a kill order. Nothing involving bureaucrats happened quickly. "What are you doing, Sovereign? Have you lost your mind?" the Colchian leader hissed. "Fire away." "You wouldn't dare," I chuckled, noting the irony. Those were the same words I told Tava responding to her distress signal, right before the Vendel threw missiles in my face. Shooting down asylum seekers would have the wondrous consequence of raining debris on college students. I'll speak my piece, and I don't care if you like it. Nikonus's bulbous eyes stretched wide. "Are you trying to start a war? This is rash and impulsive, unbecoming of a Federation officer." "What have I got to lose? My cradle is dead, and I am one of the lost survivors of a dying species. It's time to let us Gojans speak for ourselves. We don't even get that courtesy." The Colshiad waved the tentacles in a dismissive gesture. He forwarded an open hangar location. It was all I could do to slow to a safe landing velocity. Berna and Tolpin seemed terrified of my flying. The two of them had found their way back to their harnessed seats. Our ship ducked the spaceport overhead with an inch to spare. FTL traffic control gawked from the observation room as I careened down while firing reverse thrusters. Our massive ship slid into the docking port like a plug into a socket. Colchian soldiers rushed across the terminal, flooding from the connector tunnels to the governance hall. They bore weapons designed to hamper any human predators that magically popped into existence, including heavy guns and strobe lights. I laughed to myself, appreciating how absurd this reaction was. Perhaps this extermination officer wannabes would try to arrest me. I doubt they'd like that stunt I pulled, but the humans would think it's hilarious, I noted. Protector, those predators get humor. The Colchians rigged explosive charges by the exit hatch before he could disembark of our own volition. They entered with gun muzzles ready and hollered orders at us all. My spines bristled at their intimidation, but their fear didn't reach my brain. I struck a bored pose as they pressed a rifle in my temple, pushing it away with a light claw tap. Meanwhile, the Harkon reporters and Gojid refugees had dropped to the floor in terror. "Your hospitality needs some work," I remarked. "That is no way to welcome guests." The Colchian soldiers shared a glance, incredulous at my derangement. They swept every corner of our ship, including inside storage cabinets. Amusement flared up once more, as I thought about Carlos folded up like a suitcase to fit in a drawer half his size. Several glares latched onto me, and I was flung to the floor by a rough tentacle. It took an inordinate amount of time for their thorough search, but our hosts became satisfied that humans weren't lying in wait. The Commonwealth guards waved to stand up and ushered us out the door. The 8-sided landing pad had an array of stalls and offices built into its walls, flashing signs directed ambassadorial attaches to the governance hall, writing in several languages, including the artificially created Common, which is only used by pretentious diplomats. The general public were welcome to Federation proceedings as spectators, but they weren't cleared to land here. Media personnel hurried out from the connector tunnel just as we cleared the terminal's threshold. They seemed disappointed to find no unannounced arrivals of the few Gojids and Harkon. Whatever an outlet's stance on humanity, the Predator's sole mantra was true. Journalists captured footage of us with our Colchian escort, with a few calling Solani and I by name. I avoided eye contact and kept my lips sealed. "Solani, Harkon Ambassador, Raylia will welcome you to hear your report on Fel." The Colchian soldier turned to me, radiating contempt. "She's in crucial talks with undecided Federation members now, so you need to show some patience, Sovlin." I kept placid expression, though. I knew our neutral fraction could not turn on humanity. "Of course we'll wait outside until she's ready. Would you show us there, please?" The Colchian beckoned with a cerulean tentacle, steering us through widening corridors. Our journey ventured away from the massive auditorium, where state business was conducted. Architects on Alpha seemed to derive joy from constructing floor plans that looked like mazes. It was a wonder we didn't get lost. Perhaps a simpleton like me couldn't understand beauty, but I wished the humans would get the whole place. Their layouts were always neat and orderly. We reached an escalator and transported us to the basement. A subway train waited for us and whisked us below the streets to the ambassadorial offices. I didn't understand why the diplomatic living arrangements were in the hall's premises, while the workspaces were separate. I suppose this was the only way to provide every species with spacious accommodations. The Colchian soldiers steered us into a lobby. Once we arrived at the station, an elevator ride to the 12th floor was the last step of our journey, and I yawned to express annoyance. Judging by the iconography of an Atala with flowers in her beak, this must be the Crocattle's home. Closed doors sealed off a conference room, which I yearned to break into. "This is my chance to speak to the Federation, the ones that can still turn back. I have to impress the need to appease humanity." I sprinted towards the meeting area, catching the Colchians by surprise. A soldier placed a tentacle on my shoulder, and my spines extended further. In a flash of outrage, my claws scratched gashes into his soft skin. Selene gasped at my violent assault, but I had no intention of waiting. This was too important to let some grunt stand in our way. The Colchians drew their guns, no doubt worried that the human predators had corrupted me. The Harken reporter leapt in their path, and waved her arms to compensate for her short stature. I burst into the assembly. Dozens of pupils darted in my direction. Ambassador Jerusalem squawked angrily, "What in Nishtal is this interruption from the man who pushed the bleeding hearts into humans' arms because poor Marcel?" "What Captain Sovereign did to that human was wholly cruel and unnecessary, whatever side of the aisle you're on," Chief Nikonus returned. "It's a predator, just like Noah was. You traitors use their names, which is validating the whole premise of personhood. What next? An Arxal speaker named Huggable?" A female Mazik flared her trunk. "Noah is obviously a monster. Even he realized that. But his arguments were sound. We don't have the luxury of trusting our gut. Fret not, Jerusalem. Everyone recognizes the image of evil when it's right in front of them." "Do they? That's why you're the only allied race that came to this meeting?" Fossil Ambassador Dark tossed her floppy ears. "They won't meet with you because you physically attacked anyone who sided with humanity last time." "I apologized for that. I'm willing to talk to everyone now, though you don't deserve it. What I did was the only sensible reaction to heresy." A clamor of voices rose in disharmony, leveling accusations and shouting conflicting views. I was horrified that these were our leaders. They had the emotional maturity of misbehaving children. The good news was that I didn't need to fake diplomatic aplomb. If talking the loudest was the only way to get through to them, that was right up my alley. "I am speaking now!" My roar shook my vocal cords as I leapt onto the table to draw attention. "Jerusalem, I think your army is gone, so you have nothing to throw your weight around with. That's why you're talking." The Crow-Cattle's ambassador craned his neck in irritation. "You have no right." "Protector, you make some more senseless noise than a stampede. The undecided voters here, most notably the Sulian and Iftali alliance, are likely leaning towards war with the humans. This is all based on the Cradle's fall. But nobody here was actually there but me. Are the Gojans nothing more than a talking point to you? With our own voice, we served this federation for 6 centuries. Chief Nikonus cleared his throat. The Federation respects the contributions of the Gojan Union, who worked tirelessly in our defense throughout this war. The Colchian Commonwealth was saddened by the tragedy that befell your people. That said, we already got the details from Dr. Zahn of the Tekken Coalition, your doctor. Zahn! He said that all humans deserve to die from the moment we laid eyes on Marcel, much like the Crow-Cattle ambassador with this Noah. What you need to know is that Prime Minister Piri and I saw empirical and irrefutable evidence that flipped our stance. My question is, does anyone care what really happened?
Yeah, of course we care. Go ahead, Captain, the Sulian observer interjected.
The simple fact is the humans never attacked a single civilian or even medical target. We were gearing up for an attack on Earth, so they took out our military capabilities to stop us. The Arxal took advantage of the lapse in the fortification and started bombing everything in sight. Terran military personally risked their lives to evacuate our people.
Jerusalem puffed out his chest. The predators were just collecting their own cattle.
It didn't surprise me that the Federation assumed our refugees were livestock, but that was why Tulpan was here. The Colchian soldiers stood as steadfast at the door, forming an organic war between my posse and the diplomats. Hearing the Crow-Cattle's claim, Berna barreled over the guards with a headbutt. Her brother was close behind. Selene slipped through and dazed soldiers, though the other Harken journalists weren't as quick to act. Tulpan is deaf, and he can attest that humans treat him with dignity. One of my guards had a deaf brother, too. They don't discard their own like the Arxal, I retorted. I thought that I was going to suffer in Terran custody, but my victim claimed that wasn't who he was. The UN gave me a second chance. The Harken ambassador, Rallia, turned to Selene.
Enough predator apologetics. Was Valve holding?
The reporter wiggled her toes. Yes, but the Arxal claimed that the raid was retribution for Earth.
The humans seem to have them under some level of control. That can either be really good or really bad. They're working together officially, Jerusalem shrieked. I told you. I shook my head.
The Orcs are lying to the humans to gain their alliance because they recognize their potential. I was on the bridge of the Terran warship when they returned and took back the cradle. They won against an enemy we can't hold a candle to. With 3 months FTL experience and primitive ships. They boarded a cattle ship so methodically that the Greys surrendered.
Disbelieving expressions swept across the room at the thought of those raging monsters giving up mid-fight. Even Selene had difficulty absorbing that tidbit. While it was common knowledge that the Goja territory had fallen to predators, the situation was more complex than that. That battle was the moment I recognized how well humanity could harness their instincts. They had better control on their neural wiring than any of us. Selene blinked. Is that why the Greys decided to honor humanity's claim to Gojids? Respect.
I don't know or care. What does go through the minds of those savages? I care about the empathic primates who eat fruit and have protective instincts. My Federation friends, don't you understand the importance of appeasing humanity? You're forcing a species much smarter and more tactical into the Greys' arms.
Chief Nikonus leaned back.
Appeasement was always my plan, and people like Jerusalem thought that they knew better. Have the two predators wear each other down, then it'll be much easier to clean up the survivors. If they want to duke it out, why make them turn their guns on us?
My jaw almost dropped to the floor. Using the humans to destroy the Arxor, then mopping up their remnants was the cold, calculating idea that I'd expect from a predator. The United Nations deserved to be shown genuine kindness. It was all I could do to keep my mouth shut. After cooperating through an alliance, these people could get attached to the Terrans eventually. There would be time to give the primates a proper warning if they didn't see through the facade from the start. This might be the only way to save the Federation. I want humanity to survive, but I can't feed every race in the galaxy to the Greys to achieve that. The humans want to know where their race stands. That was their message, I said. Make your decision and contact the United Nations. Well, those of you that haven't already fecked your species over. Ralia wiggled her toes in discomfort. We joined the attack on Earth, and I can't say I regret that. I regret that it failed. Selene glared at the Harkon ambassador. You should be ashamed of yourself. Surrender unconditionally and beg for forgiveness. We can't hold out if the Greys send reinforcements. Once they finish up with the defenseless Nishtal.
This is a wake-up call, I growled. Nobody who openly opposes the humans has survived, assuming the 24 attackers fall to the Arxor. All that matters is that we survive. But it's your choice. Go with your last chance at survival, or push the predators into the Greys' arms.
Agreement glittered in the eyes of the Kolshian chief, and a contemplative silence swept through the room. I hoped my argument was more compelling than the humans' vengeful demands. My trust in the Federation's decision-making was gone when predators were involved. After decades of faithful service, the plea was a final effort to save the species I pledged to defend. End of chapter. I'd quickly like to thank the T5 channel members and patrons. Casper Arnholtz, Cam Maxwell, Lord Azrakal, Dragzoon W.R.E, Holly Sister, Ambrose Cattell, and Quantum Wednesday. Thank you very much.